So I have a couple of questions to ask before we start this review. They may seem a bit out of place, but in the context of the game I'm about to review, they make total sense. Number 1, do you like strategic board games? How about the sport of football? If you've answered yes to both of these questions, then you just might be ready for
Blood Bowl,
a game of chaos, destruction, and strategy on the football field. Will it score the ultimate touchdown and dance, or fumble away any chance of success? Let's take the game straight to the field and find out. Are you ready for some Blood Bowl? The world of Blood Bowl is built into a bright and colorful realm of fantasy and violence, and there is no shortage of creativity here, as your eyes will see a wide range of characters, fields, and surroundings in your sports experience. Wild characters of all shapes and sizes run around the fields. They can go from bright and beautiful to creepy and foreboding. Creepy dungeons, swamps, and cemeteries, all the way up to pirate ships on the high seas, can operate as some very nice looking fun fields for some exciting football action. And the players from each race look downright unique, with fun designs, bright and colorful uniforms that offer you the option to customize the name and logos. And each race has a unique set of armor that changes depending on both position and rank. You'll easily be able to pick out that rookie runner from the veteran lineman that has crushed his fair share of enemies on the field, as each one of them is quite unique and fun. Unfortunately, if you're looking for that smooth flowing 60 frames a second gameplay with beautiful high resolution graphics dancing across your screen, you won't find it here. No, even on a high-end gaming rig, the frame rate can be all over the place. It can sputter, spike, and will never feel that smooth. And while those players in armors are colorful and fun, they can also appear quite jagged and janky, even on the highest graphics settings. And that is one of the most disappointing parts of this game. Sure, you have a massive field of action, but the game just doesn't look good at all. The textures are not very sharp, the animations are anything but smooth, and the game can stutter all over the place. It just adds more bugs to an already frustrating title. Balancing those two sides, I have to give the graphics a rather disappointing
C.
The themes are fun, but executed poorly. Here's hoping for something a bit smoother in the next coming installment. This title, originally brought to us in 2009, before being expanded later, is simple enough. Its premise asks us, what happens when the world of professional sports collides with a mystic fantasy realm? The answer is a whole lot of chaos. When you look at it, the story is really that simple. A group of fantasy races come across the NFL rulebook, don't understand it at all, and instead invent their own game, somewhere between football, rugby, and the gladiator ring. Blood Bowl meets in an over-the-top, humorous game covered in the blood of man, dwarves, elves, orcs, and a whole lot more. Sure, the story is really basic and doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it doesn't need to be anything special. This game is about the action, competition, humor, and strategy. As you're out there crushing friends or computer opponents, the last thing that you'll be worrying about is story continuity, because all of your attention will be focused on getting that next touchdown or that next devastating hit to destroy a player on the field. So, taking that into consideration, the story gets a solid C. Sure, it's simple, but this is freaking football. Sort of. And what is a world without the sounds that fill it? Nothing but a silent void of emptiness. And disappointingly, this aspect of the game really lets Blood Bowl down. While the sound effects and music aren't bad per se, there's something far worse that spoils the atmosphere. What is it that you look for as you crash upon the gridiron, standing toe-to-toe with your opponent as you face each other down? The sounds of bodies crashing together, yells, taunts, and cheers from the crowd? You get none of that here. No, what you get instead is nothing but the television experience. And what is that, you may ask? Two play-by-play commentators who never stop talking. That's right, taking a page from Sunday Morning Football, your ears will be punished by a pair of voices that never stop going. From the kickoff all the way until the final play of the game, your ears will bleed as the pair rattles on and on about random stories, bad one-liners, and goofy jokes that have little to nothing to do with the game at hand. While done right, commentary can add atmosphere, give pertinent information, and add a certain amount of personality and humor to the sporting event. You won't find that here. Instead of analysis of team statistics and fun play-by-play idiosyncrasies, such as the beloved, "This guy went over here like this and boom!" We get two guys that ramble on and on with the same few stories and jokes that you end up hearing over and over again throughout the game. Sure, there's a small variety of stories, but there's just so few of them that you end up hearing the same 5 stories, elf, undead, and orc jokes, etc. in every game. There is just not enough variety there, and oftentimes what they're talking about has nothing to do with the game itself, as they talk right over the action. This can get really annoying, as half the time it just sounds like two guys talking, totally oblivious that there's a game going on, like two grumpy old men talking away to each other, sharing the same 5 stories as they sit on either side of you in your living room as you try and watch the game in peace. If you're anything like me, you'll find yourself playing the game on mute, and taking all of that into consideration, I give the sounds and music a big fat F. As with all games, the most important question that you can ask is, how does this bad boy play? Well, considering that this title was based upon a board game, that is a very good question. So, let me give you the best answer that I can. Just like its cardboard counterpart, Blood Bowl is a turn-based game on a grid-aligned field. Each player is allowed a certain amount of movements per turn or a single action. The object is to position your players in the best possible situation to defend your ball carrier or attack the other team's players based upon statistics that both you and your opponent's players possess. For instance, some teams have stronger players than other teams, so they can easily attack ball carriers and defenders with less players than the other teams. This bashiness comes at a cost, as most of these hitting teams have low movements and can be left in the dust when the faster teams get some distance between themselves and their opponents. Other teams feature speed, dodging, throwing skills, or a balanced attack that has no real strengths in either direction. The key is to find the team that aligns to your playstyle the most. Do you like to avoid contact and score points, or bash your opponent into the ground and only score once the field is bloodied and clear of foes? It's up to you. This gives you a lot of leeway and options to strategize your team build and change tactics depending on who you are facing. Statistics really define the game, as each movement and attack is based upon the roll of the dice. The better your placement and skills, the better your chances of success. With such a heavy dependency on statistics, it's obvious that strategy is the name of the game here. I've heard it described by more than one person as a game of risk management, where the objective is to position yourself to make your moves take as little risk as possible while forcing your opponent to more dangerous and risky rolls. That's not to say it's all about the strategy. No, with Blood Bowl, there's a whole lot of luck involved as well. Say you have put yourself into the perfect position to force the AI or another player into a move that means certain disaster. Great, you say. Victory is just a few strokes away. It's just a matter of waiting now. Well, not exactly. It's not that simple. Sure, your opponent may have a high risk of failure, but nothing is a sure thing in Blood Bowl. Whether it's luck or a particular character or team skill set, oftentimes there are ways that you may find yourself watching that player slip away when the numbers tell you that it's just not possible, especially when it comes to those darn elves. And when the AI starts rolling sixes, when you've set everything in a way that only rolls with fives or above will grant success. And that's not the only part that will make you rage with frustration. Yes, that strategy and number system is wonderful when it actually works as intended. Positioning yourself in the right ways and watching your players move, score, and deliver devastating blows gives you a most wonderful feeling. That is, until the game starts to glitch. And when it does it extra hard. Oftentimes, you will tell your players to move to a certain square, only to have them path themselves at the oddest angles, straight into the opposing player's tackle zones, leaving themselves open for an attack as they pass by. Or worse than that, there are the random crashes that occur in some of the oddest ways. Probably the oddest that I've ever seen was a game where the ball turned invisible after a computer opponent fumbled the ball. Thinking that it was glitched and gone, I played on as I had a player standing in that very square that the ball had previously been. Time and time again, I saw computer players moving towards that square, wondering what they were doing, only to have one of them finally go right past my player and pick up the ball that neither I could see or my player was able to pick up. Other errors have had the game hang, waiting for the computer to make a decision, only for the game to sit there, nothing happening for minutes at a time. Or my personal favorite, the ball never returning to the field of play after rolling out of bounds. So, if you love a turn-based strategy game that allows you the chance to dominate your opponents on the football field, Blood Bowl delivers the right balance of strategy and gameplay to make an exciting experience. When it actually works, that is. When it bugs out or you find yourself on the wrong side of Elfcraft, you'll be pulling the hair out right from your skull. Despite the bugs and that odd dependency on luck, I would have to give the gameplay a solid B. Let's just hope the upcoming sequel is just a bit less buggy. Okay, here is the big one, the complete package. How are Blood Bowl's pieces put together? Are they joined together in all the right ways to form a beautiful masterpiece? Or crammed in so tight and misplaced that they form a huge mess? As we have discussed, Blood Bowl is both great and flawed, frustrating and fun, annoying and awesome, all at the same time. So what does that tell us about the big picture? To be honest, nothing at all. Let me explain. Yes, the game is quite frustrating and glitchy. Even the biggest fans of the series have to have a love-hate relationship with this game. You love it and hate it all at the same time. But when everything goes right, it feels awesome to just obliterate your opponent with scores or crushing blows. And I think I know why. It's the gamble. When you look at it, Blood Bowl and these dice rollers and deck builders are essentially gambling games. Sure, there's no money exchange and there's no CD bar or casino, but the attempt to eye up your opponent and outwit them with 2 parts strategy and 1 part luck is the essence of gambling. It's the same wherever you go. Whether you're sitting around a table playing cards with your friends or in front of a high-stakes table in Vegas, you feel the same thrill, risk, and manage your moves just the same. And Blood Bowl has all the pieces in hand. the strategic positioning of those pieces, the building of the players on the team like a deck of cards, and of course, the role that gives you ultimate success or failure. It's all here. To put it in gambling terms, it's like this. Sure, Blood Bowl ain't the nicest joint in town. The lights may go out at any time. You don't trust the guys that come here, and you're certain the dealer is crooked, cheating the table, but you just can't help coming back here because the thrill and the wins just feel that darn good. So, although it's not the best strategy game out there, and the sports action and commentary aren't that good, Blood Bowl is still a really fun game. Although it may bug out and steal a game or two from you. If you like strategy, gaming, and sports, you too can develop a love-hate relationship with this Cyanide title. And with that, I give Blood Bowl a B.